podcast. I'm Guy Fagan, and today I'm joined by comedian, and not only that, but also the legendary frontman of the legendary thrash metal band Acid Rain and host of the official Motorcast.
Yes, yeah, it's called the Motorcast. Yeah.
Okay, podcast. And most importantly for us, Leeds United fan, Howard H. Smith. Welcome to the show, Howard.
Hello, thank you for having me. It's nice to be here. Yeah, I'm doing good, mate. I'm doing good. I'm probably doing better than us so far this season, I would say, at the moment.
Okay. Yes,
you know, we're underachieving a little bit at the moment, but I'm not too worried, and that's not arrogance. That's genuinely it's founded on what Bielsa's done since he's been with us, and we have patches like this. It's just a shame it's the first time we've had one of these little patches at the beginning of a season. We'll be all right, I think.
Yeah, you won at the weekend, didn't you? Watford, was it?
To be fair, I think anybody could have been beaten Watford the way they played. I think some fans could have run on the pitch and beaten Watford. But it's 3 points, and we did need it. But I mean that's another part of really why I'm not worried, because there's Watford and Norwich in the Premier League as well. So it's, for me, it's those two and one other to go down, and I just don't see that being us. I see that being way more likely to be Newcastle, unless of course they get taken over.
Well, there you go. Yeah, that's all going on at the moment, isn't it?
Yeah.
So Arsenal are in no danger now, you think?
No, I don't think they. I don't think they ever were they? But we all like a really good laugh at big clubs when they're not doing very well. If Arsenal are still a big club, I don't know. I mean, well, they were big spenders in the close season. They spent more money in the Premier League than anybody else. To have a horrendous start to the season, but yeah, they've showed some form. I mean, it's literally which way is the wind blowing? Who's in one state of disaster or another? Is it Spurs or is it Arsenal? It seems to alternate week to week at the moment.
Yeah, something going on in North London, isn't there? Something in the water.
Yeah, or something not going on in North London, and that's like consistency of a good kind.
All right. Well, we're going to be talking all things Leeds United in a moment. But I've got to say, the 14-year-old me would be absolutely chuffed to bits to have you on. And to be honest, the 44-year-old me is pretty chuffed as well. I was a watcher in my youth. And I loved Acid Rain and the Fear album, I remember.
Yeah.
In particular. And I even wrote to the band.
Yeah,
just to say how much I like your music.
That's awesome. But that's the thing is, to people listening who are not into metal, believe you me, that is not as freaky as it may sound. That a 14-year-old might write a letter to a band to tell them how much they enjoy. Because I have many friends who have done that, and I myself have done that. It's this bizarre sense of loyalty that is generated by this music. I don't know what it is, but here we are 30 years later chatting on a podcast, neither of us looking like your traditional metaler or thrasher, but I've literally got back off tour like 10 days ago, so
how was it?
It was good. It was post pandemic, obviously, so crowds were down about 30% and a little bit more reticent to get involved unless you live in Glasgow or Leeds, apparently. Glasgow and Leeds was like there'd never been a pandemic.
Yeah.
All the other gigs were a little bit standoffish. Wrexham there was a pit for a couple of songs, but yeah, there's a definite difference, but that was to be expected, and it was expected. But we were also playing as a 4-piece because one of our guitarists had COVID really bad, and that was like combined with the weirdness of it being post-COVID meant it was a very unique tour. I've just done what I hate doing other people doing as well. I just put the word very in front of a word that doesn't need it. Unique, so I'm a twat. Sorry to everybody. I broke me unreal. So anyway, it was good. It was good is the upshot of all of that. It was good.
Great stuff. And have you got any more music lined up? Are you going to be in the studio? Any news
No.
or right now?
No time soon. It's going to be working on new material, which will take place over the next 9 months to a year. And we'll demo things in those times, and by that I just mean, like, just electronically. We won't get together in a studio or anything like that. And then once we've demoed the songs, you then kind of like start on pre-production, which is where you just sort of, it's a bit push and pull with each song, really. You look at its weak points, you push it to breaking point, you cut all the fat off, you keep playing it, you keep thinking of, do we need that section, or could that do with something else? Does this need a lift here? And that's all the sort of fine tuning that you call pre-production. And then by that point, how, being able to play the songs tight is not a problem, because you've played them so much and you know them so well that it's a case of just going into the studio and smashing it all out. But that process is going to take 2 years, I reckon.
Okay. What I really liked about Acid Rain work, you were always like socially conscious, weren't you? It was like,
I mean, well, our current album from 2019 is called The Age of Entitlement, which has been wrongly interpreted as some sort of dig at millennials or any particular generation. It's the age we're living in, and entitlement can apply to people from age 1 to 100. So if anyone getting bent out of shape about that particular title and the artwork of the album, which admittedly does make it look like we're taking the piss out of millennials, but it's something that I've always done ever since I was a kid, really. But with the new album, there's only really one song that comments on the way society is. It's called #New Age Narcissist. It's about social media. It's about people being entitled and the way they behave on social media. And that again is anybody with an internet connection. There's no age group that I'm commenting on. I'm not claiming to be any better than anybody else. The reason why the lyrics are, as I've been told, so accurate is because they're written by somebody who probably does all those fucking stupid things as well. So but what people have done is, funnily enough, what you just said, there's a hangover of that socially conscious. So there's a bunch of songs on the album about mental health that have all been interpreted as being social commentary on some sort of like either political issue, or there's a song called United Hates, which straight off the bat people assume is about the United States, and it's not. And it's not about Trump, and it's not about politics at all. It's nothing about the UK. It's not about a country. And yet people lazily, or they adopt an old narrative, and go, United Hates, I wonder what that's about. So they approach it thinking, well, he's known for his social commentary, and so they apply that narrative to those lyrics and they make it work for that narrative. But the truth is, it was never about that. It's like, basically what I found is, the older you get, the more you sing about what you feel, not about what you think.
Okay. Yeah.
And that's just, I think that's just human nature, unless you're some sort of emotionless cyborg. But yeah, it's just the way things are now. That's who I am, a 51-year-old thrasher.
Great stuff. Yeah. So you've been doing the comedy for a number of years now.
Way longer than music. Yeah, I've been doing comedy since 95. So quite a lot.
And what's been your highlights in comedy then?
Probably playing Download Tent to about 1,200 people as my character Keith Platt, and going down an absolute storm, and then I finished with a karaoke version of Walk by Pantera, getting the whole tent to chant Respect Walk, and it was an absolute buzz. It was the closest thing to the buzz of being on stage with Acid Rain that I've ever experienced. And it was and it's funny that the highlight of my comedy career I consider to be something that is like being on stage with a band, but you know, it's I mean, there's other highlights too, that are like, you know, personal milestones, like being a regular, not the regular, but being a regular downstairs at the King's Head as an MC, because that's a club where I started. You know, I was going down there as a 25-year-old, and the whole place just amazed me, and everybody who worked there amazed me, and Peter Graham's been there all that time. And to go, you know, he's still my comedy guru, but it's more on a one-to-one level. He, by the way, is also a musician, so whenever I gig there, as soon as I come in, we just talk music all the time. He wants to know what's going on with the band and everything else, and if any other comics come in, as they do, and they start talking comedy, and he'll just go, Howard, tell him about your band. You know, because we'll have just come off tour or just put an album out or something like that, and he's like, he loves it. So yeah, personal milestones as well, like, you know, being a regular at the King's Head and things like that, and also having comedians as friends who I saw when I was starting out, and I idolized them, and now they're my friends, you know, and that's like, that's really cool. That's really cool.
Great stuff. All right. Yeah, so with Peter Graham, because I did downstairs at the King's Head before lockdown, and I think he's got like a landline that you ring to book on. It was like really old school.
Yeah, Monday to Thursday before between 9 and 11. Ring that landline and get a gig. And that's never changed. And I love that. I absolutely love that.
Consistency. Fantastic. All right. Well, let's get on to the pressing matters at hand. All things Leeds United. So you're a proud Leeds United fan.
Yeah.
So how did it all start, Howard?
Well, funnily enough, when you said, right, let's get to more pressing matters and all that, I was like, oh, hang on, is this a phone in? Shit, is this a phone in? But anyway, how did it all start? Do you know what? Old school. I don't know. There is absolutely no day I remember going, I'm going to support Leeds now. No game I watch, no nothing like that. It's just always been Leeds. It always will be Leeds. And that goes without saying, really, doesn't it? It's always been Leeds. And I have no, it's like, to me, the question is, why would it be anyone else? Growing up, where I grew up, at the time I grew up, actually, at the time I grew up, we were shit. We were pretty much shit most of my life.
The 80s were a bleak time, weren't they?
Well, we've had real highs, but we've also had real lows. You know, I mean, I remember us getting, you know, banned from Europe, the whole fucking shebang. So, you know, you throw in banned from Europe, years in the second division, eventually getting up, winning the title, defending it being shit. Wilco taking that team down, George Graham boring us to death but keeping us alive, and then O'Leary accidentally getting in the job. Everything goes brilliant, everything turns to shit, and then shit, and then shitter, and then shitter shit got shitter than that, and then we're down in League One going, what the fuck? And it's like, well, that's being a Leeds fan. And then, you know, we grit our teeth, we come back, we try and fuck up getting out of that division. For some reason, you know, on the final day, down to 10 men, but Beckford came through for us, and then beating Man United in the FA Cup when Beckford scored that goal. When I worked out, I got about 3 times more text messages from people about us beating Man U than I did Happy New Year text messages, because it was just like, it was a few days before or after, I can't remember, but either way, it was fucking awesome. I
heard a bit of a story about that. I did actually do some research before this, because I'll be honest, I'm a Tranmere Rovers fan, and I know we've probably crossed paths back in the day, but I know fuck all about the Premier League, to be honest. So.
Dude, I absolutely get that. No, I absolutely get that, because I know fuck all about whatever division you're in, mate. I haven't got a fucking clue.
Yeah, I had a little listen to this podcast, and they were saying about the Beckford goal against, obviously, you know, you call them scum, Man United, don't you? Was there a bit of an incident when he was celebrating with a woman celebrating on an advertisement hoarding who kind of fell face down.
I think that's
Possibly. It might be
that's
another goal.
no. I think that did happen. And it's in folklore, and you can look it up on YouTube. But to go back to your original question, so it's always been Leeds, and you know, it's just like just like breathing air. When did you start breathing? Well, I presume when I came out of the womb. I don't know the exact time. So yeah, always been.
So by default, okay. So we talked about a few sort of the journey and the kind of going down the divisions and up again. What's been your biggest high supporting Leeds?
Winning the title in '92. But actually, physically, my biggest high was being at the Barcelona game at Ellen Road when we won in the Champions League. And that was just fucking awesome. That really was. That really, really was. At least I hope it was Barcelona. I'm pretty sure it's Barcelona or AC Milan. Fuck me, the older I get. I've got the fucking ticket somewhere, but I'm going to say, but yeah, that was. I mean, there you go, the biggest high, and I can't remember which fucking team it was, but no, to be at a game, that was fucking amazing. Weirdly, and this is really weird because I can't explain it, but the day, our very last game in the Premier League when we got relegated, at home to Charlton, I was there with my girlfriend, and we were a couple of tiers up, and people started invading the pitch, and it was really weird. It wasn't like an atmosphere of sadness, and it wasn't a bad-tempered pitch invasion. And like, you know, Alan Smith was like carried off on everyone's shoulders and stuff. And it was just, it was really weird. It was like being at a happy funeral, you know. If you ever see those funerals on you know,
like New Orleans or something.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Thank you. Spot on. Yeah. That's you imagine it'd be like that. So that, I'm not saying that was a high, but it was a real, it was just odd, really, really odd. But yeah, winning the league, you can't beat that.
Yeah, it was Cantona and all that, wasn't it?
Fuck off! Don't bring him up. He arrived for like the last few games. He scored a couple of goals. You know, fucking hell! It wasn't the Cantona league. It was if anything, it was the fucking Chapman, Batty, Speed, McAllister, Strachan league.
Okay, all of those characters.
Lukic was also awesome that season. In fact, they were all fucking awesome. John Newsom, who'd have thought? You know, it was just, it was awesome. And we won that. And we won that title by 4 points, if my memory serves correctly. Not by fucking 1 point, not by 2 points, not by 3, but 4 points, Ferguson. But so
who was second, Howard?
Sorry,
who was second? Was it Man United that year?
Scum.
Yeah.
We got over the line before they did. So there you go. Yeah,
great stuff.
Them's the rules.
So lots of highs there. I know there must have been some lows. What's been the lowest low?
Do you know what? The lowest low. There's two. Being relegated is upsetting, but it doesn't happen on the day. It's been coming. Yeah. No matter how close you might, you know, especially us, you know, we flirted with it the season before.
You can prepare yourself, can't you, mentally?
Yeah. But I would say 2 games, both at fucking Wembley, right? Actually, 3 games, both 2 at Wembley, one at Cardiff. Losing to Doncaster Rovers in the playoff finals to get out of the Division 1. Losing the playoff final to Watford, which would have been a chance to bounce straight back into the Premier League.
Oh, losing to Watford, gosh.
Well, the thing is that the thing is we'd have only been out of the Premier League for one season if we'd won that game.
Right.
Look how long it took. And that was my fear. It was like, bounce back. If you can bounce back, you stand a chance. But the big fear was, if we lose this game, like, anything can happen, and it fucking did. So that was horrendous. And also, again at Wembley, the fucking League Cup final against Villa, where, I thought we had a really good chance in that game, and we were shit. And the fans let fucking Wilkinson know it on the day as well. When your own fans are singing, "Why is Brolin on the bench?"
Okay.
It's yeah.
What was that, 93, 94, around that sort of time, was it?
I couldn't tell you.
Locked it out.
Couldn't tell you. But so yeah, playoff finals are by nature a motherfucker. But that one against Watford really hurt, because my fear was what could happen is what did happen, which is it took us fucking 16 years to get back.
Ooh. And you had to play the likes of Tranmere, didn't you? A few years later, say.
Oh mate, don't. I remember. I'm not going to deny our roots.
Yeah. All right. So let's get on to a happier subject, hopefully. Who's the funniest ever Leeds player?
Well, funniest is obviously subjective, but I'm actually going to go with my choice today. It may differ down the line. I might think of somebody and go, "Oh no, hang on, them." But when you think about Leeds United, can you think of a single fucking player that's a happy-go-lucky joker in the pack that fans of other teams like? No, not fucking one. Because we're Leeds. We don't do that shit. We don't do he's a card. No. You play for Leeds, everyone hates you, and as a rule, not particularly funny. But if I was going to go for my personal funniest player, he's only just left, it would be Gianni Anioski, because bless him, he's clearly has adult ADHD and needs medicating. But until that day, he's just a great guy to have on your team, shaking fucking tunnels across every division he's been in, winding players up, absolutely brilliant. So he's just like a kid. And also currently, and this is a typical funniest player, is Maciej Klich, the Polish midfielder, who doesn't give a single fuck about anything. And like, players are arguing, and he walks up and just pours a cup of water down the back of the player on the opposition who's arguing. Like, that's going to help. He's an absolute wind-up merchant, and he's fucking brilliant at it. And that'll do for me. That's funny. And we've had plenty of those over the years. But when it comes to like, real characters, real sort of, players that people love, Leeds just don't tend to have them, because when they play for Leeds, it means no one loves them. So, well, we do, obviously, but no one else does. So, yeah, there you go.
What's the funniest chant you've heard at Ellen Road or an away ground?
That would be at an away ground. That would be an away ground. And I wasn't at the game. I was watching it on telly, but it was when Jimmy Floyd Hasselbank was playing for Middlesbrough, and he went to get the ball for a throw-in, and it was near the Man City fans, and the Man City fans started chanting, "You're just a fat Eddie Murphy, fat Eddie Murphy." And Hasselbank, to his credit, just cracked up laughing. Thought it was brilliant. So yeah, that's probably my favourite. Don't get me started on chants, though. I'll be here all night, including some incredibly offensive ones.
Okay.
That was it. There's a brilliant chant recently. No, not that recently, but there's a goalkeeper of one team, and he's called Ian Justum. Now, Justum is spelt how it sounds. It's just ham. And the away fans behind the goal sang at him all the way through the first half. You're just a crap Tesco sandwich. Crap Tesco sandwich. So yeah, that's a bit of a favourite.
Oh no! I heard we had a Wrexham comedian on, Welsh comedian Anthony Pizzola, and he's a Wrexham fan. He was talking about there was a game and there was one fan in the away end and they had a purple jumper on, and I think there was a Wrexham chant of "shit purple jumper." It's just a shit purple jumper, but I guess you had to be there. Any funny managers?
Oh, fucking hell.
Not George Graham, obviously.
Clearly. And George himself would agree with that. Yeah. Do you know what? Straight away, when you said, do you have any funny managers? My reaction there was like, oh, yeah. And I start thinking, I was like, no, because just if you're Leeds United manager, you're stressed as fuck.
That's true.
I can't think of again, funny Leeds players, funny Leeds. We've had nothing to laugh at for 16 years. Do you know what I mean? It's like, it's who's our funniest manager? Marcelo Bielsa. Because when I look at him, I want to laugh because we're in the Premier League and he did it.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like everyone else fucking losers.
I mean, you've had dour manager. I mean, Howard Wilkinson, good. Oh.
Howard's very dour, but then again, an incredible football man who is still has an effect on the game today in this country, and he is very, very well respected within the football industry. And that's not because he's old and he's been around. It's because he is behind implementing a lot of things on the training side, on putting infrastructure in place to improve the England setup. He's been behind all of that, so it's but you're right, we have had, and the weird thing is when I think of the one person, when you're saying like funniest managers, he wasn't a manager, but probably the funniest person to be connected with Leeds over the last few years is Cellino.
Okay, yeah.
Massimo was fucking hilarious. He really, really was. I mean, the minute he bought the club without doing the financial due diligence first, we thought, well, that's great. It's mad, but it's great. But also that madness is going to cost us long term. And it did. And again, you look at our owners, like just fucking Arabs with no money, various receivers, a mad Italian, right? And that's not our current owner. He's a sane Italian, a mad Italian, Ken fucking Bates. I mean, these people are not funny, So Massimo was a bit of like relief. Do you know what I mean? I mean, this is how mad he was, because people who weren't around Leeds, people who aren't Leeds fans, don't understand how mad he was, right? A fan rang him up one night to talk to him because he'd managed to get his number. Rang him up, recorded it, and said like he wanted to talk to him about the club. Massimo's at home knocking about, nothing else to do, a bit pissed. Has a half-hour conversation with the guy that he records and then puts on the internet, and it's just like it's cat out the back time. He slates all of his staff. He's just like absolutely nuts. It's like the crown jewels. He's just let him go. And yeah, imagine having an owner who you can ring up and he's pissed enough to have a half-hour conversation with someone who just rings up out the blue and tells them everything. That is how fucking mad it was with Massimo in charge. It was just insane.
Bizarre times, eh? Bizarre.
Our players had to bring in packed lunches. They had to wash their own socks. They had to bring in. I mean, he stripped it down to the bone because of the debt. Which, look, long term, like that, might have been the right thing to do or whatever. But his time in charge was just painful, And he's like, we had a manager for 6 weeks, for fuck's sake. Do you know what I mean? It's like, it's just ridiculous. We started the season with David Hockaday as our manager, right? Since being sacked by us as manager, he's had one more managerial role, and that was very short one at Swindon. Now, I don't want to give it the big one, but he shouldn't have been given the Leeds job in the first place. But, you know, Massimo liked him. What are you going to do? Mad.
So you've had some very dour, miserable managers, goes with the territory. Any funny fans? Anyone see a game makes you laugh?
Not really, because I don't get to games because I live in London. I mean, the thing about Leeds fans is that we have a gallows sense of humour because we seem to have been sat on or around the gallows for most of the last 20 years. You know, there is just this sense of humour about the one song that kept getting sang outside the stadium when we got promoted was Leeds are falling apart again. and that just sums Leeds fans up, really, because at our moment of greatest triumph, we want to revel in it by singing the song all you cunts have been singing about us for the last decade. Well, we're singing it now and we're leaving you behind. Fuck you, Championship. Fuck you.
Bit of reverse psychology there, isn't it? But yeah, I like all that kind of self-deprecation that goes on.
I to be honest, I don't think it's self-deprecation. It's Leeds fans. It's fuck you. It's not us being self-deprecating. It is okay. Fuck. The reason we're singing it is every single fan out there who's watching this, who has ever sung this song about us. This is for you, motherfucker. We're going up.
Can you think, I know obviously you live in London now, you don't get to too many games. You get to many away days around London, you West Ham?
No, to be honest. Arsenal is the one that I go to the most. And unfortunately, due to COVID, I've got a friend who works there, but there's no tickets for staff anymore. So cutbacks, unfortunately. So yeah, it's going to be, it will be tough. Although I am hoping to get a game at Brentford and Fulham. So they're my two ins, which are both fairly close to me. So that's cool.
Fantastic. I'd love to get over to Brentford, actually. I know Tranmere and Brentford have had a few kind of humdingers over the years, but great to see them in the Premier League.
Well, I've had a few away days over the years. Don't get me wrong. I mean, I saw a Brolin inspired Leeds beat QPR, and I also saw us tonk Charlton at Charlton, which was a lovely feeling. I've seen us beat Wimbledon at fucking Sellers Park. That was a lovely day. God, that was a horrible game. So yeah, no, I've seen us over the years. I've seen, you know, a fair few games, but I haven't got to many recently. Well, obviously, no one has.
All right. Any funny away days you've been on? With, you know, a few cans involved.
Basically, what seaside towns have I smashed up? That's the question, isn't it?
That's what I'm asking,
because really. I'm a Leeds fan. Obviously, you've gone on an away day. You've had a few beers. You kicked the shit out of some locals, some shops, some seagulls. Which town was it? Any town on the south coast will do. Just let's have a cup tie on a bank holiday Monday. To be honest with you, most of my games have been as an away fan, because when I was living in Yorkshire, the band was still going first time, and I was touring a lot, and I was never around. And then when the band finished, I moved away. You know, I mean, I've been in London now longer than I ever lived in Yorkshire, which feels fucking strange. Yeah, so most of the games I go to are away days, as you call them, but they're not away days because I live in London. Yeah. So so my answer is none.
Okay.
Go to the game, come home, maybe go for a few beers after that, but you know, that's,
well, at least you know what the local pubs, don't you? You know where to go.
Well, actually, I mean, probably The one I remember, one of the ones I remember the most was when we beat get this for a game. We played Man United at Ellen Road on December the 24th, and we won 3-1. And we got to sing "We Beat the Scum 3-1. We beat the Scum 3-1. We beat," and we sang that all night. Went out in Harrogate afterwards for beers into the early hours. Sang it all night in every pub. It was just fucking great. It was absolutely. It was like Christmas. Oh.
So, what do you got coming up in comedy, Howard?
I got a few shows. For Mirth Control, some downstairs the King's Head. I'm doing some stuff for stand-up comedy nights, and I'm also doing I teach a course called Stand Up Dressed Up, and it's basically about if you're thinking of going into character comedy, or you already do character comedy. It's a day course. It's only 50 grand. It's a 1 day course, 8 hours, and we just go all the way through write material, but also what is it about character comedy, why are you attracted to it, what you the sort of do's and don'ts, but also like not so much do's and don'ts, more do's, as in you can do this and you can do this and you can do this and this will make it easier and this will make it easier, and you know how do you get in character? Is there something you can do that can help? Because if you're a comedian, not an actor, then you know, is it you just wearing some funny clothes, or is it a character? So yeah, so we get quite into that. I'm selling it pretty hard here. I mean, it's a fucking good course, but so yeah, and so yeah, I'm doing some of those.
Fantastic. And how do people find out about
that? It is oh god, right. Ask me something else and I'll find it.
That's all right. We can edit this bit.
No, leave it in, mate. Leave it in. Yeah. I'm on my phone, everyone.
That's fine. Multitask. So in terms of if people want to sort of find you, so are you on social media? Do you do any of that stuff? I think you do some Instagram, don't you?
Oh, mate, I admin 9 social media accounts.
Oof.
So there's me, there's Keith Platt, there's Talking Bollocks podcast, there is the band, there's the band, and then all of those have at least 2 channels, and some have 3, and then throw in YouTube for all of those as well. So yeah, there's a multitude of me around.
Wow, like Thomas the Tank Engine on all platforms.
Well, yeah, basically. Sorry, I've just realised I'm trying to search on my phone, and I had the flight mode on. That's fucking brilliant. What a twat. Right. So, if you want to find out about the comedy courses, it's the wearefunnyproject.com. wearefunnyproject.com, all one word. There you go.
Just Google it. You will find it, and it sounds a really exciting course.
Let me catch you all up with all my social media. So how do you get hold of me? You get hold of me at Talking Bollocks on Instagram and Twitter. So it's at Talking Bollocks, but with a Z on the end instead of an S. But just search Talking Bollocks, you'll find me. There's a little microphone in flames everywhere. You'll find that. So that's Twitter, Instagram. Acid Rain, the band. Rain, it's spelled REIGN. You can find us everywhere.
Of course.
Google the name of the band and you'll see tons of shit about us. All of it good. I also host the Motorcast, which is the official Motorhead podcast. You can get to that via imotorhead.com, which is Motorhead's website. So go to the official Motorhead website, imotorhead.com, and click on the Motorcast symbol, and that'll take you to wherever you want to get your podcasts. Talking Bollocks is also a podcast, but there is also Old Bollocks, which I co-host with. I co-host that with Stephen Oldhead Ivy. There's also Movie Bollocks, a new episode of which I recorded today, which will be coming out in a couple of days. That is with a movie writer that I know, and I occasionally do just review. I do like 20 movie reviews, but I do them like literally in like 2 seconds. Well, not 2 seconds, but do you know what I mean? Roll through. Do barely a minute on each. And I've had some really cool people on there, including the BAFTA-winning editor of Peaky Blinders, who was the first ever episode on there, which is really cool. Ooh. And award-winning actors like Phil Jackson and people like that. So that's Movie Bollocks as well. That all comes under the umbrella that is Talking Bollocks. So if you subscribe to that, you get all of those podcasts as and when they appear. And if you want to support any of the podcasts or anything that I do, you can go to patreon.com/Howard H. Smith. And there you can sign up for $5 or $6 a month. You get loads of exclusive content. There is a live podcast. Well, there's a live chat, a Zoom chat, basically once a month, where we all pile onto Zoom and have a chat about anything, and where I'm able to tell all the stories that I can't tell on the podcast because otherwise I would be sued. So yeah, it's there's I'm keeping myself busy, you know. It's
I can tell.
Well, you know, when you get to my age, mate, you've got to have lots to do. I'm very easily bored.
Keeps you off the streets.
Yeah, mostly off the streets and on stages. That's where I like to be. So, you know, it's good for me. Fantastic
stuff. Okay, well, it's been an absolute pleasure.
For me, and even more so for you.
Absolutely.
Look, thank you. I jest, of course, sir. Thank you very much.
I'm still waiting for the response to my letter.
Well, I wouldn't hold your breath, mate. No. I'm afraid in this instance, you are going to die wondering. But that's just the way it goes.
Well, there you go. I'll have to live with that, won't I? All right. Well, I wish you and Leeds United and Acid Rain all the best.
Cheers, dude. Thank you very much.
And yeah, take it easy.
Good luck, mate, and good luck Tranmere, and good luck with the podcast as well.
Thank you.
Cheers, man.